This is Amber McClendon in Houston, and it's September the 11th, 1998, and I'm with Vic Buzard, and he was with the A Company in the 119th Army Engineers. So I'm just going to start by asking you very basic where you were born and where you grew up.
Yeah, I was born in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, March 18th, 1918. So I know old geezer. And we lived in Pennsylvania until I was 11 years old. And we moved to Michigan. My parents were in the oil business, drilling oil and gas wells in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and so forth. And let's see.
Did you go to high school in Michigan?
Hmm?
Did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Michigan, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And like I say, I worked in the oil patch in Michigan. And then after World War II, I went into Dow Chemical Company. I went in for the winter and stayed 30 years and retired from there.
When you were in high school, had you had plans to go to college, or did you?
No.
No.
We couldn't afford it in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Hard times. So.
Did you get drafted, or?
Yeah, I was drafted. Yeah, 1943. Mm-hmm. Was it 43? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Fort Leonard Wood and took my basic. And then from there, I went to Fort Crook, Nebraska, Ordnance Automotive School. Learned to operate on trucks. First echelon mechanic. That's frontline stuff, you know. And from there, I went to California to Offutt Air Force Base now, I think. No, that was in Nebraska. It's, I forget the name of the outfit now. Anyway, I went to California, and from there, replacement depot was assigned to the 12th Armored.
So where did you join the 12th Armored at?
Where? At Abilene. Joined at Abilene. And we got there, they were packing up to go overseas. So a bunch of us come in all at once, you know, to fill up the company. And we got in the act. And those guys had been with the 12th Armored Division for a long, long time, you know. Saturday inspection, they had their uniforms all pressed, and they hung them up and hid them, you know, for the rest of the week. So they had a good time. And anyway, we went from there to Camp Shanks, New York, yeah, for overseas.
What do you remember about the train ride?
Well, we had sleepers. I remember that. Pullmans. And what was it? Was it that trip or coming home? Coming home, I guess. We they put us on KP, made cooks out of us. We cooked up bacon and eggs and toast and so forth, you know, for the guys. But then the cadre on the train, they said, "You guys come down, take your hat along." And they put money in it. So we got jumped about it, and I said, "I don't know what's going on. It seems to be in the States there, they get money for the KPs." Not a word was said. So, that's about it.
So when you got to Camp Shanks?
What's the name of that? Nyack, New York, where that is, yeah. And who lives there? Some, I forget, some famous author. But anyway, we were quarantined. And we were down the gate one day and we noticed guys holding a piece of paper up in the air and MPs let them go through. So me and another guy did the same thing and we got stopped. So this MP says, get down there about a quarter of a mile, there's a hole in the fence. Go down that way. There's a cab waiting for us when we got there. So we went to town and I think we bought a bottle of booze. And we took it with us on the boat. We had it till we got overseas. And well, that's about it. Out of England, on the boat, Trasker Bliss was the name of the boat, General Trasker Bliss. A couple days out of England, we had a submarine scare. And they were dropping depth charges all around that boat. The boat was just shuddering. Everybody had an even chance. They put us all down in the hold in case we got hit. So that was quite an experience. And we got to England. We went to Avonmouth, I think we landed. And we went to an air base and billeted in tents there. And then they sent us to Tidworth Barracks in brick buildings. And that was quite an experience. But anyway, the parade ground there at Tidworth Barracks, an airplane come zooming in. It was a Spitfire, British plane, you know, and the pilot had jumped out of it probably 10 miles back or further, and it crashed there, right by our parade ground. So we all were running up to it, looking over, you know. It was a tiny thing, room enough for the pilot, and that was all. So you didn't understand how it could fly. And we were alerted to leave, and it was so stormy. They sent us back. And then a couple of days later, we left again. We loaded on LSTs. You know what an LST is? No, landing ship tank. And we were on the top deck with our 2.5-ton truck, you know, just like that. And one of the buck sergeants in another squad, he grabbed hold of me. He said, you go on KP. I didn't like it, but I did. And so we served the troops on the boat. And the sailors there, he said, you guys don't eat that stuff. So I went out on deck with the T-bone steak. The Navy ate good. So they fed some soldiers too. So I looked at Buck Sergeant and laughed at him. And well, let's see, we landed in Rouen, France. Yeah. Went up the Seine River and LST to Rouen and unloaded there. And let's see, there was old French barracks there. No, they were apartment houses. Oh, they were full of junk, garbage. We cleaned them out, and each one of them had a fireplace in them. So we had a warm place to sleep. And well, we went to town. French houses around, close to town. Went, pounded on the door. This guy says, "Entree." Huh? Pounded again, "Entree." We didn't know what entree meant. we finally ended up, opened the door and went in. And he had Calvados for us. That's apple brandy. And so, so we got our refreshments there. And then we left there. Where did we go? Well, we went on a road march and slept along the road, to Luneville, France. And we got to Luneville, and beyond that was Herlisheim, not too far from Luneville. So.
I want to backtrack for a minute. You were with the 119th starting in Barkley, is that correct? Or when did you join the 119th?
In Texas.
In Barkley.
Barkley, yeah. Mm. Yeah.
And so, were you ahead of everyone else? Were y'all what was your duty?
You mean on the road marches, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the tank destroyer was the first one, I think, and Enfield platoon, and I think a squad of engineers. And not a company, a squad. And so.
In case they needed you to.
Mm-hmm.
In case they needed you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of the work was filling in ditches and holes in the road from bombs, and so forth. And one place it was, we got strafed. German airplane, and he strafed, and then he come around and he dropped a bomb. 2 of them. One here, and we were here. And about a dozen of us hit a foxhole, One guy at the bottom of the foxhole come out with a broken leg. I evacuated him, and he never come back to the outfit. And so he had $1 million wound. Sent him home. And at Herlisheim there, we were riding tanks, and our tank got stuck in the mud. And every time they send a tank retriever up, the Germans threw shells at it, But anyway, going up there, the tank next to us, 2 guys on it, got shot off it. One guy got shot through the neck. Oh, it went in about here and out about there. And he was back in the outfit in about 3 weeks. He healed up that quick. And the other guy, he got hit in the shoulder and he passed away. He died. We thought he was hurt less than the other guy. But, so, yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know who was going to get it, And, after we crossed the Rhine at Worms, Germany, where we crossed, and we went through the Black Forest, that area, and went south, and you heard about Dillingen, didn't you? We got the bridge there over the Danube.
Tell me about Dillingen.
Well, we hit the town right at noon. German soldiers were in the chow lines, and we kept on going. We went down to the bridge. The town was about a mile back from the bridge. So we went down to the bridge, took the bombs off, put a bridgehead over, and then went back and took the town. When we were in town, we were in a building there on the 2nd floor, and Germans were sending airplanes in to bomb that bridge. we were firing rifles at it, which didn't do it any good. You couldn't hit it broadside of barn. But anyway, we were cut off there for about a week. They were sending trucks back, you know. They weren't getting through. And finally they did get through, and I think the Army thought we were going to have to cross the river in ducks, you know, 2.5-ton truck with a boat built around it. About 10,000 of those ducks come down through there, across the bridge on wheels. So they felt pretty good on that. And oh boy.
I want to let's talk about Herlesheim for a minute. We didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
What was your experience there?
Well,
Kind of a big, broad question, but
yeah, it is. Our A company, we didn't actually get into Herlesheim. We were supposed to take the Steinwald Woods. You've heard of that. And that was full of German soldiers. And I remember they fired a bunch of white phosphor shells into that thing. We thought they couldn't survive. They did. They come up shooting to run us out of there. And so that was Herlesheim. But I was trying to think. One spot there, we were crawling on our bellies, you know, machine gun fire over us, and I saw one guy got his cartridge belt shot off him. I think a shell come in, cut it right off, and he didn't get a scratch on him. He's lucky. So that was more or less Herlesheim. But I think C Company, I think, got into Herlesheim, and maybe B Company. But I don't know if you've heard of that book, Nightmare in Herlesheim. I've got that in Arizona. That's up out here in Michigan. That was quite a story. And I talked about the different outfits and different people, their experiences, you know, more or less similar, but 3 or 4 different stories. So.
Well, you had just gotten through telling me about the Dillingen Bridge.
Yeah.
Where did you go from there?
We went south toward Stuttgart, I think. Yeah. And we ended up near the Austrian border about 3 or 4 days before the war ended. And they pulled us back, you know. A fresh armored division come over. Their general was a big shot, and he wanted to lead troops in combat, so he got them blooded. Several guys got killed over nothing on account of this general. So a lot of politics in the Army and the big shot officers. Big politics.
What was your experience with the death camps?
Well, at Landsberg, that was part of Dachau, you know, and what was it? This guy coming down the street. We were up in the trucks, you know. He pointed down south. He said, "Kaput, kaput," and he was one of the guys that come out of the building that the Germans set fire. And he got shot coming out, you know. The Germans machine gunned him. Well, you saw that picture. Mhm. So that wasn't very good.
What do you remember when you first walked in?
In the death camp, we didn't actually walk in. We were more or less drove down through it and kept on going. we were on a road march. We were moving on. And I don't know if anyone told you, on the Audubon, beautiful bridges, you know, and we'd cross them, the Germans reorganized behind it and blow them up. Infantry outfits behind us had hellish battles to catch up with us, you know. So
Tell me about the bridge you built over.
yeah, we were, I don't know, we were all day and all night building the thing, and we put a single span over. We started running 3/4 ton her Jeeps over it. It to hold Jeeps, you know. But anyway, that bridge was like that. And we got the other spans up, you know, and we had the bridge up like that. just like home. And anyway, they brought the artillery up. They were lined up in the banks behind us when we were building the bridge, you know, firing overhead in the buildings across the river.
So it just took you one day and one night to build?
Yeah. Yeah.
The triple double?
Yeah. Yeah. And you build it on the ground, you know. You build twice the bridge and you shove it over. Just balance it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get your supplies? Did you carry them with you?
Yeah. Yeah, we had rations and we had a mess truck too. But every day they got cigarettes to us. And the bakery's following us, you know, fresh baked bread every day. Sometimes unless you're outran him. So they flew gasoline to us several times. German airfields, you know, we'd take them and come in 5-gallon cans of gas on those airplanes. And let's see. It's hard to remember sometimes.
Yeah, you were. You had just. You were on your road march through the death camp.
What's that?
But where were you after you marched through the death camp?
Well, we left there and we went south toward Dillingen, that country. I think Clansburg, yeah, it was north of Dillingen.
How long were you there in Dillingen?
I think we were there a week or so. Like I say, we were cut off there in town for a while, you know. And, what was it? We stretched logs across the river above the bridge, put them end to end, chained together, you know, and the Germans were floating mines down the river, trying to knock the bridge out. So we'd hit those logs and blow up. So they never did knock the bridge down.
That's interesting.
But we were moving so fast, you know, a lot of times you can't remember where you were. And our engineer outfit, we had 30 caliber machine guns on our ring mounts, and every time we saw a tank knocked out, we grabbed a 50 of it and put it on our ring mount. More firepower. We were out of uniform all the way around.
Trying to think. So you ended up near Austria.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that where you finished the war?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What were y'all doing there?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing there?
In Austria?
Mm-hmm.
Well, after we crossed the border, we were relieved and we pulled back toward Holland. So.
Did you have to wait to go home, or did you have enough points where you could?
You had to have points to go home, and I didn't have enough points to go home, but I had too many points to go to the Pacific. I was married, we had a baby, so I stayed in Germany. But the guys that low pointers that went home, you know, they really got a break. The war ended and they got home before we did.
When did you get married? Before the war started?
Yeah, I was married in 1939. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How old? Did you have a boy or girl?
Girl. We had 3 girls and a boy. 4 kids. And the oldest daughter lives in Orlando, Florida. And 2 daughters live in Michigan. And my son lives in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So the whole war you had a wife and a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, she didn't like it. I didn't like it either. But I didn't chase around. I was in love. So.
Do you think it made you more cautious than most people or most guys?
Well, I don't know. Maybe so. And what I thought about was, if I got hurt, I wouldn't be hurting as bad as she hurt when she had the baby.
So she was pregnant when you left?
No. She had the baby. She was 3 months old when I left. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me ask. Do you have any grandchildren?
Let's see, we got 4 grandkids, yeah.
What would you want your grandchildren to know? If they were looking at this video, what would you want to tell them about your experiences?
Well, I had talked this summer with my son and grandkids up in Michigan. They were visiting up there. So I told them a bunch of stuff on what happened. And they didn't realize it, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't realize it until you live through it.
What kind of stuff did you tell them?
Oh, about going overseas in the boat and the submarine scares and I think I told about Herlesheim and Dillingen, getting the bridge there, you know, and so forth. So.
Are there any interesting or funny stories that you remember?
Yeah, I can't think of them right now.
Who were some of your friends? Who were some of your friends that you had?
Well, Bill Everly was one, and he retired in Alaska. And I lost track of him for several years, you know, so the Hellcat News had his address in. He had just joined the association. So I wrote him a letter, and he answered back. And then a couple months later, he passed away up there. So, and Joseph Laboda, he was from Chicago, and I haven't heard from him for years. I tried to contact him. That's a very common name around Chicago. Polish name, real common.
So what'd you do when you got out of the war? When you
Got
got
out-
home?
When I got home, I went to work in the oil field for a while, and then I went into Dow Chemical. The oil field in wintertime is cold work. So I figured I'd go in for the winter and then come back in the spring and get back to the oil field. But it was warmer inside, so I stayed at Dow.
You have any questions? Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, I guess not.
No?
So,
Well, I guess we're finished.
well, good.